obviously both sides are talking about what's in the bill. I would argue that the Democrats are trying to do everything they can to make America afraid. But here's the reality. The reality is the waste, fraud, and abuse in Medicaid, as the president has talked, and I support everything he's talking about, he has said explicitly, do not cut the benefits to the American workers, the people who need Medicaid out there. He said it again yesterday. He said it in the press. He has not mixed words about this, and so he wants us to go after the people that are legally on Medicaid. He wants us to look at work requirements for those who are able to work, that don't have dependents, and that's going to make the Medicaid program more solvent. But we also know that the Medicaid program is probably the one area of government benefits that is going to explode and is exploding right now in exposure and cost that's going to be required to keep it afloat into the future.
Well, so if that is the case, Congressman, are we talking about long-term solves here with these measures, or does something more substantial need to be done? Do the members of the Freedom Caucus actually have a valid point that they're making?
Well, the only way that there's going to be anything that's going to make all of our programs, Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, solvent for all of those into the future is to come together in a bipartisan way. This will never be done in a reconciliation process where one party has control of the House, the Senate, and the White House, whether it's the Democrats or Republicans. There just will not be enough willpower to make that happen, because everybody knows to do it unilaterally, the other side, as you're seeing with the Democrats, will demagogue it so badly that nothing will get done. And that's why you're seeing that if we don't do anything with Social Security and Medicare, sit down together in a responsible way, Democrats, Republicans, then in less than 7 years, there's going to be a 21% across the board cut. And so we have to come together to work on these programs to make sure that they're solvent for those who deserve them.
I know this is still tied up in the Rules Committee as we speak, Congressman, and there's no sign of this hearing coming to an end while we're talking today, but there's an expectation that we'll see a floor vote as soon as tonight, maybe tomorrow. Do you hear that that's the case? Is that what you're planning for, or could this be an extended working weekend, maybe into the holiday for your caucus?
Yeah. So as part of leadership, I can tell you right now, it has been our mission to get this done before Memorial Day weekend, which, tonight's the night we're going to make this happen. Right now, as you mentioned, the amendments are being debated in the Rules Committee that started meeting at 1 a.m. this morning. And I think what this has proved, whether it's last week's markups, we're going to work day and night to make sure that America's taxes remain low. President Trump's fingerprints are all over this, starting with the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, making that permanent. The tax cuts he's doing for the working class, upwards of $2,000 in additional taxes that will not be taken from our people making, working on tips or working in overtime. So all of these things are important, and including reducing the tax burden on our seniors by some $500 to $700 per year. All of these things the president has done. This is not about giving tax cuts to the rich, as the Democrats are wanting to use a talking point from 7 years ago. This is about making permanent. You all report on business outcomes. There's not a business person in America that says by me keeping my taxes where they are, that somehow that's going to cost the federal government. Only in the scoring of the Congressional Budget Office does that actually cost money.
Well, Congressman, you are right. We do focus on business outcomes here. And we also know that there are businesses that were counting on tax credits and other subsidies in the Inflation Reduction Act that may be rolled back now. You actually told our colleagues on Capitol Hill earlier today that it's your understanding the Freedom Caucus is going to try to talk to the White House about clawing back tax credits from existing projects. Can they do that? And is that something not only do you expect the House conference is willing to support, but would the Senate get behind an initiative like that?
Well, I don't know about the Senate, but that's my understanding. That's been reported that they're wanting to look at projects that have already been connected to the grid that are not yet complete, or are still being in work in process, and then having those costs borne by the ratepayers. That's if somebody has to pay them, and the way our utility system is set up, the commissions or the oversight groups of each state would be, those public utilities would be able to go back to the ratepayers to be able to make up for that, instead of the federal government paying, somebody in Oklahoma paying for a grid system in, say, Kentucky or somewhere. And so I don't know what the final details of that are going to be. They wanted to go to the White House to talk about this, so my assumption is that they're on their way over there to get support from the president on this. again, this is really important part. It's a very, should that happen, it would be, I think it's $300 to $400 billion in possible scoring that would be additional savings. In Ways and Means, because we did all of our stuff working together, not, trying to work through these and hash it out. We had a lot of dialogue. We have, folks from, very rich coal country. We have folks from oil and gas states like myself. We have people that have been in business for a long time like myself, and we've had others that have been in state politics that understand how these green credits work and how they, how they're important to states generating jobs and, encumbered by debt and equity situations. So all of this was fleshed out. That's why we came to $515 billion in saving on the green credits by shortening the phase-out time, but still allowing for people that had projects going to be able to utilize those.